Hello everyone, it's Jeff here, back with another video. This time it's a contest entry for the Omaha Introverts 500 subs contest. Congratulations, Hannah, on getting 500 subs. I think that's probably the fastest that anybody's gotten 500 subs to their channel. It's really awesome, so congratulations on that. I wanted to make sure to get in your contest. Sorry I didn't get in on this sooner. I've been, as you know, ranting and trying to clean records this past week, and I got all that out of my system, so I feel better now. I'm gonna start my entry for your contest. It's 5 questions, and I've got them written down here so I don't forget. And I'm just going to start right now with the first question. Where do you live? I think I mentioned this before. I live in Oaklawn, Illinois, which is probably no more than 5 minutes outside of Chicago on the southwest side. Chicago's got 2 major airports, and I live super close to Midway Airport, which is, it's actually where I work, actually is the incoming flight path for planes. So to Midway. So there's always planes flying overhead, landing above where I work. So yeah. So that's question number 1. Number 2. What is your best sounding album? That is such a loaded question because there's so many to choose from. So I only have like 1 or 2 MoFi albums. That would probably be an easy answer. But I'll answer this question by saying that really the first time, like when I got back into vinyl, and the previous turntable that I had from this one was it needed a new cartridge. So for the first time ever, I bought a brand new cartridge, put it on. I bought what did I buy? I bought an Ortofon 2M Red, which is kind of, you know, it's a decent cartridge. It's on the lower end, but still decent. And I know one of the advantages that everyone talks about for vinyl is that you can get so much more detail out of it, and you can hear all kinds of things that you may not have noticed before. So my answer for this question, it's kind of an obvious one, but I'm sticking with it. It's Can't Buy a Thrill by Steely Dan. Because I had bought this album at the time when I was when I changed that cartridge out, and I played this, and I just heard so many more things on this album that I'd never heard before. Like even a song like "Do It Again." You know, I've heard that song on the radio, I don't know how many times. I've got it, you know, on CD and MP3 and all that other stuff. And it seems like when I played this record, it just sounded clearer. I was able to hear things in it that I didn't hear before, like subtle things, like, you know, like little extra percussion bits and things like that. Because there's a lot going on in that song. And I'll show you the record label because it's an ABC label, but it's one that it's got the letter blocks that spell out ABC instead of the traditional round circle with the ABC logo in it, which I only have. I have this on one other album, but I've never really I hadn't seen this before at the time. And from that point on, it seemed like I was able to listen a little more critically, I guess you could say, to albums. And with the turntable I have now, it seems like I can hear a lot of things that I just never either paid attention to that pop out at me, or just details. It just helped me listen, I guess, a little bit more intently instead of just letting it play and going da 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 da. So my answer to this question. And there are many others. I mean, Steely Dan is kind of a cliche answer, I know, because their albums are meticulous and perfect and great. I mean, I like all their albums, but this was really the first one where I started paying attention to things that I heard for the first time on vinyl records. I hope that answers the question. Because there's really too many records to choose from. I mean, Pink Floyd, just about all their albums are sonically damn near perfect, you know, stuff like that. Even Beatles albums, you know, with a higher end cartridge, it does bring out a lot more sound and detail than just listening to it on a, not to sound snobby, but a low-end cheap-ass cartridge. So that's like one of the things I learned in this hobby. And so probably like if the question was what is like one of the most important parts of your sound system, I would probably say the cartridge. I mean, there are many other important parts too, but for something to draw the information out of the record, you have to have a good cartridge. So there's that. Okay. The third question. What decade or era is your least favorite musically? Really, anything in the 21st century. I'm good with anything from like the mid-50s, say, you know, birth of rock and roll through the 90s. I'm good with just about anything in that time period, but man, early 2000s up to even today has been pretty rough. I don't know if you can chalk that up to age or not. That probably can chalk some of it up to age. But it just seems like from like the mid 2000s to now, there is so little new music that I like or find or am interested in. I mean, of course there's exceptions, you know, to everything, and it's not like there's no good music at all left. It just seems like from, you know, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it just seemed like there was so much more that was compatible to my ears, maybe. I don't know how else to describe it. It just seems like the birth of auto-tune was kind of like the death knell for music, like new music for me. And it just seems like a lot of recordings are just too like cold and clinical, and I don't know if it's the digital versus analog thing either, but I would say mid 2000s to now is probably my least favorite. So that's why I go back and all I do is listen to old records now. So I mean, my wife buys albums for me here and there that are new, which I enjoy, but what can I tell you? I think I'm turning into an old fart. The next question is about your 5 favorite Psych albums, and I'm not into Psych that much. I don't think I could come up with 5 albums, and if I did, they're probably just stuff you've already known or heard about. So I'm going to go with, instead of Psych as the musical category, I'm going to go with blues. Because, and I'm going to qualify this, it's not just blues albums, but blues albums that you can pretty easily find. And some might edge into the rock, like the blues rock genre too. Because that's easily one of my favorite types of music, and it's one of the things that I'm trying to work on increasing in my collection. So these records, I picked 5 here, and I don't know how easily or not they would be to find in your area, but for me, even online, the search wasn't that hard, wasn't that difficult. And of course, you know, if we're talking blues guitarists, you know I'm going to be talking about Rory Gallagher. So this album here came out in the mid-70s. It's called Photo Finish. And it's one of a string of great albums that Rory put out. It's not a live album. I know I've been talking up a lot of his live albums, so I didn't want to repeat myself too much with this guy. I know I haven't shown this one, so this is a good, more like a blues rock album. Roy Gallagher's Photo Finish. Another one which I've seen in just about every half-price books there are, and it shouldn't be that hard for you to find. Second Winter by Johnny Winter. This is a double album, but side 4 is blank, which I use, quite honestly, I use it to test my turntable's anti-skate to make sure that everything's centered. So this is the, I think this was probably his biggest hit because it contains Highway 61, his cover of Highway 61, which he basically made his own, you know, much more so than Dylan. And I just picked up his first album, which I showed in my rant video, and I haven't listened to that yet. I just cleaned it, so I have high hopes for that one. I hope that one's in good shape. But this is a very good album too. So, and Johnny Winter is one of the great blues slide guitar players too. So this is another good one that I would recommend among the blues/rock category. And of course, if I'm talking Rory and Johnny Winter, you know I'm going to be talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan as well. And I know you know all about Stevie Ray, Hannah. So it was just a coin flip over which album to pick, because personally I think they're all good. Even Soul to Soul, which is just kind of but still it's a great album too. This one came out before it. It's called Couldn't Stand the Weather. And I think just about everybody knows this album. It's easily one of his best. This was his second one. I'm not showing the Buddy Guy album that I showed countless numbers of times, but Stone Crazy, that would probably be on my list too. But I'm going instead, sorry, knock the camera again. I'm going with Albert King. I don't know if I showed this one before. It's called Live Wire Blues Power. This is a live album from the late 60s. This one wasn't that hard to find either. I don't know if reissues are out there. This is an original. No, this isn't an original, is it? No, it's not. I'm sorry. This was a later reissue. But Albert King. I mean, you're talking about the Three Kings. It's hard to try to pick your favorite. I don't know. But he's right up there. But this is easily a great sounding record, a great blues record, and a great live record. So Live Wire Blues Power by Albert King would be my fourth pick. And finally, I've shown this one before, and this one can also count for, it was going to be what I was going to use as my best sounding album instead of Steely Dan, but this one here by John Lee Hooker, Don't Turn Me From Your Door. I know I showed this, I think, at the end of last year. I picked this up over the holidays last year, and even though it's in mono, I find that mono records sound really good, especially at higher volumes. And this is just him singing and accompanying himself on guitar and playing. But boy, the music really jumps out of the speakers. And it just goes to show how powerful his singing and playing is. And this you can find on Amazon. I bought this on Amazon. I think it was like $18, $18 to $20, something like that. So it's decently affordable, brand new record. So I think if you were going to pick any of these five, if you didn't own any of them already, I would start with this one. This is another one that I got to chalk up to Andrew from Tales from the Crate turning me on to. And I didn't play it as relentlessly as I did the Buddy Guy, but close. So if you're after just simple, powerful, good blues music, try this one. John Lee Hooker, Don't Turn Me From Your Door. So, sorry I didn't have psych albums, but that's just not my thing. So, not saying it'll never be my thing, but for right now, that's what I went with instead. So any of those albums will be a good listening experience, in my opinion. And the bonus question, I'm going for the bonus here, is to show an album with a cat on the cover. I've got 2. I didn't watch everybody's entry into this contest, so I'm hoping that at least one of these hasn't been shown before. But of course you have the first Santana album with the white lion on the cover. Big cat. I'm hoping big cats count. And the other one is of a big black cat. This is Roxy Music's For Your Pleasure, and she's walking a Black Panther. So yeah, I went one better and I put 2 out there. So that's my bonus question entry. And there you go. That's my entry. So once again, congratulations, Hannah, on hitting 500. Good job. And yeah, I'll be back again soon with another video. So till then, everyone have a good weekend. I'll see you soon. Take care.